Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Caneswear today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to Caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
Traffic, but I love you.
Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio de los Jugos.
Los chicharrones.
Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero en Cuba yo era médico.
Le saco el dedo y digo Q.
Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Le Fallo.
Oh,
Sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah on the Finstock Sports Network. I'm your host, Bobby Finstock, joined always by my brother, Alex Atiachiska. Chef Julian in the house. Brother, how are you? Great to see you, my man. Fins up. Tati, of course, always tuning in. Need more cowbell. At least the Fins never signed Matt Patricia to anything. The Eagles can't cover anyone tonight. Always the silver lining. Oh, man.
What's up, Chef? How you doing, man?
Oh, dude, I gotta check out. I gotta get some of Chef's next time I go. I'm going down there in February. I don't know if Chef's gonna be involved with the Dolphins Challenge Cancer, but hopefully I can bump into him because I've seen some of his cupcakes. It looks like he makes some delicious stuff. So I'd love to try one of those when I get a chance. If you guys haven't yet, go
did
find
you say
him.
Cupcakes? I gotta take my wife.
Yeah, dude, he is legit. I met him last time I was down there for fan weekend, and it was awesome. And he's a great dude. Back It Up Binge podcast in the house. Great to see you, my man. Miami Heat winning right now. Came back 79-77. Jimmy Butler back in the lineup, 26 points today. Adebayo double-double, 10 and 15. And Tyler 18 and 9 rebounds. As we're waiting on that, Ray Finkel in the house. Alex, my brother.
How you doing, man?
I talked to you a little bit today. We touched on this.
Yeah.
We're going to talk on it. You know what? The topic is the quarterback, because why not? You know, I mean, everybody seems to be talking about him. And, you know, I know some people say it's not fair, it's not this, it's not that. But when you're the face of the franchise, basically, you're put on the hot seat.
Comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. So we're going to touch on him today. But the whole Dolphin organization should be on the hot seat today. And in regards of on the burner, I'm not talking about hot seat fire everybody, as some are saying, but I'm saying on the hot seat, meaning they should the microscope should be on them. 26-7, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course you hear all the excuses in the playbook. You know, and legitimate excuses or not, but all excuses. The weather, injuries, this, that, and the other. We all know that. We all heard about it, but we haven't heard from you. So I want to get your take on the Miami Dolphins flaming out. I predicted 11 wins this season, 11-6. They win 11-6. I thought they were going to. I said winning a playoff game would be a success for the Dolphins this season.
Yes,
they didn't. They went 11-6, lost. So to me, the season's a failure. in the end of it all.
Absolutely.
But let's touch on this game first before you get your thoughts on that, man. What are your thoughts on this game, brother?
I mean, obviously, there's the ultimate disappointment that your season ended on the note that it did. And there's no excuse. I know I tweeted before the game about the weather and all that. I'm not going to use the excuse of the weather because it's a weather for both teams. It's the same weather for both teams, same ball, same field, same everything. Obviously, the conditions weren't ideal. We did this to ourselves. We had a chance to have home field advantage, arguably throughout the playoffs, unless we play Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, if we had made it that far. So that's something that you just got to deal with. It's part of the growing pain. The only unfortunate part about this game is that you felt that this year. Well, I'll save that for the other section. Let me straight up this game. I felt that we were competitive to the most part defensively. I honestly felt the defense overperformed what I expected them. I understand this is not the Mahomes of old right now. This team is still very young. There's certain situations that you saw where you felt that you could get over the hump. You felt that there was going to be a bang bang play that would change the momentum of the game. You kind of felt that with the Tyreek Hill touchdown, and even in that aspect, too, was thrown against the wind. I know it was a little underthrown, but you felt that was going to be a momentum change. There was moments in those games that easily could have been a one-score game throughout. But once again, like it happens against good teams, above 500 teams, it gets out of hand in the second quarter going into the third. And we even got the ball back. If we would have scored in the second quarter before going into halftime and then gotten the ball back in the third quarter, I thought that was a crucial point. But we had, I believe, 4 consecutive 3-and-outs or 5 consecutive 3-and-outs, and we couldn't convert our third down. So there's many situations that you saw coming, and you saw our offense become very one-dimensional in that aspect. And I'm honestly astounded. I know schematically they took away our running game and altered some of McDaniel's play calling, but I felt that we have the firepower with Mozart and the chain to counter that and have a diverse offense, a very flexible offense when it comes to that. But I'm surprised that they didn't use a chain in the passing game. I know there was some schemes where he was with Jeff Wilson out there, he was with Mozart, so you don't know if it was a diversion. But overall, just disappointment that the season ended the way it did. I knew it was going to be really loud in regards to the Tua talk, the conversations about offensively, if this is it, have they figured out McDaniel? So those are situations that we'll come up with now and we'll talk about it during the show. But like you said, they're not in the hot seat in regards to McDaniel and Greer and all that. Their seat is getting warmer. I do believe it's a nice warm right now, and results will have to come next year in regards to the final phase of what McDaniel has in mind as a coaching staff. And I know everything's on the table, and that's why I feel confident in regards to where we're going. Their changes are on the table, and we do have the right personnel that is able to change, I believe, and to adapt, hopefully. I know the talk is loud on Greer and the talk is loud on McDaniel. Until you win, no one will shut up. So that's the next part of the evolution of the evolution of this rebuild, which is already involved more in the running game than just. That's true too, man. Even in the passing game, like there's so much. That's one thing that I want to sit down and. There's at times this season that people forgot. I know Chain was a sexy name, and he was a rookie, and his yards per carry were I believe 6 or 7, which is insane. But we kind of forgot, and you kind of lost during the season. Like Jalen Waddle's a playmaker. We have playmakers in this offense. Are we missing a big possession receiver, a tight end? Absolutely. Will Claypool re-sign and be that tight end? Will they go that way via the draft? So there's a lot of options that I believe in, and we'll discuss it. So I'll leave it up to that.
Let me just say this. There's a lot of people coming in here, and I appreciate everybody tuning in right now.
Yes.
Flipside Fishing, Back It Up Binge, Chef is in the house, Need More Cowbell, Courtney's in the house, Daniel Meeham, always great to see you. I do want to talk Daniel's. Tati asked earlier, she did say that Twitter, there's people on Twitter saying that the season wasn't a failure because the Dolphins made the playoffs. No. Listen,
for us,
I'm sorry.
For us, it is.
Yeah, and if you ask the players, it was a failure. To think it wasn't a failure, I have to be respectful and tell you, you're living in a fantasy world. The Dolphins had all this talent. They were 3 games ahead. They had the AFC East in hand. They were 3 games ahead there. They had the number 1 and 2 seed in their grasp. They lost 3 straight. They couldn't, and they lost in the AFC. They lost the wild card. They could have been in the division, having a bye. It was a failure. I'm sorry. Your expectations are really low on this football team. If you have faith in Tua, as most fans do, you have faith in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike McDaniel and Raheem Mostert, the leading touchdown leader, the leading receiver, the leading quarterback in yards, the number 1 offense in football, the number 9 defense before the end of the season. All that with 3 games ahead in the AFC East. All that holding the number 1 seed and then losing to Baltimore and then losing to Titans and then losing to Buffalo and then Kansas City. To say it was a success because they made the playoffs. You're all respect, love, and everything to you. You're absolutely wrong. There is no way, no how. You could argue the conversation on Tua. You can argue the McDaniel. You can argue till the bells come home. That's fair. That's fair game. When it comes to saying that this team was a success, that this season was a success, your expectations were really low. 2nd year in a row playoffs.
And it's in context.
9-8. Hold on. 9-8. Brian Flores was 9-8. He didn't go to the playoffs because the other team did not lose. Miami didn't fall in the playoffs. Last year, they were 9-8 again. They fell into the playoffs, Daniel. This year, they rode high at the beginning of the season. They fell flat at the end of it. They earned their spot in the playoffs, but let's not pretend that this is some success, Daniel. Your expectations are really low, dude. Really low.
The thing is, for context, and this was, if I remove the Dolphins' history, okay, I'm just telling you. I use an example. Team A, hire a new coach, trade for star wide receiver, have the number 1 offense in the NFL, have the passing leader in the NFL, have the touchdown rushing leader in the NFL, have the receiving leader in the NFL, made a 2-game improvement from last year. In context, people will be like, okay, there's progress. But we have the notion and we have the reality of what we saw. We have the reality of what was last year, understanding the situation with injuries. We have the reality of what was this year. Like you just said, we had a commanding 3-game lead in our division. We were, I believe, at that time, first in the AFC or second. I'm not 100% sure at that time. We lose a game at home against Tennessee when we were up double digits. We were up 2 scores with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game. In context, you know there was improvement. Okay, perfect. Defensively, you saw a team that we talked about in the beginning of the year. When this defense is healthy, with Vic Fangio, and they get comfortable, they will be a scary unit. And you can argue the second half of the year, after they got back Ramsey, they were top 5 defense in the NFL. And they're the reasons we won games. They were the reason we won a lot of games, or we weren't in games when our offense was struggling. So in context, when you have the whole year summarized, these past 2 years, have there been improvements? Absolutely, 100%. But have there been collapses within those improvements? Absolutely. So this is, Bob, our season really was like, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That was the epitome of that. Our offense was tailored for one particular playing style, and it came to bite us in the ass in the end of the season. We were not able to adjust. We were not able to adapt. And it's crazy because you see our strengths and our weaknesses. If common fans like us can see it, coaching staffs that are there in the building day in and day out, trust me, they can see it. But there's some things that are beyond fixable within a year. So this is the part where you go into the offseason, you analyze a lot of things. Will there be changes? Yes. But you can't be the knee-jerk GM in Twitter stating all these changes that you're going to do and blow up a team, because there is a nucleus here. There is a core that is sustainable, obviously, to the level of what sustainability it could reach or what success it could reach. A lot of people, that's when they start to analyze is this a Dak Prescott situation in Dallas? Are you going to go down that route? Are you scared going down that route? How much money do we commit? So those are things we'll talk about, but I'll let you lob it for me there.
No, I will say, and again, no, we did not block Evan. He's taking a much needed break. because he's been on everybody's
I was
show.
about to ask you. I'm really surprised Evan is not commenting on this show. Like, you just think his comments are like automated already. Like someone is talking, boom. Just talk.
And yes, no, there's not going to be any management changes. That's why I'm not going to talk about it. I have my opinions. There's no point in bringing it up because nothing's going to happen. Player changes, there will be. There's going to be it's going to be a different. There will be some players switching there.
Mhm.
Daniel, I saw your comment on there, brother. When was the last time that was with Adam Gase? Adam Gase, and we were one and
Last
done
time
there.
what?
We didn't win. Last time we went to the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Tony Sperano, one and done. Did not win a wild card game.
No.
Adam Gase, one and done. Did not win a wild card game. What's it? Dave Wannstedt, and right before that, lost.
And with Tony
the wild
Sperano,
card.
remember, we got lucky that Tom Brady tore his ACL that year. I
Sure.
mean, that's the reason.
Well,
we really
and
won the
again,
AFCs.
I could, and I'm not. Yeah, I guess I am debating Daniel in some sort of way, and I understand where Daniel's coming from, and I have all the respect in the world for Daniel. I appreciate him always watching. We commented, and we've gone back and forth before. But again, I have higher I had high expectations for this team. Playoffs. They made the playoffs last year and they lost. Brian Flores was, again, he didn't fall in playoffs. He was 9-8, the same record as McDaniel's first year. The year before that, he was 10-6. And think about that. He was 10-6 and didn't make the playoffs. So it's like, what is it? My thing is this team was too damn talented, too damn special, and too far ahead. If this team fell into the playoffs and lost a wild card, it's still a failure, in my opinion. But then you more understand it. When you're this far ahead and you put up a showing like that in the last few weeks of the season, I think even the players would say it's a failure.
Yeah.
We didn't show up. And Daniel was right. Now, I think, Daniel, tell me, brother, because I was thinking about this earlier. I saw this. I put in the comment here. Drafting a tight end. I know you were watching the draft shows last year. I was all for Dalton, for Washington and
Yes.
going for tight end. Dolphins didn't do that. They said we need a pass catching tight end. They had Mike Gesicki the year before, and they never used him. So is it really that much a priority? Now there are some guys I like.
Yeah.
Now you know me, I'm already in it. Jared Wiley's another one later in the draft. TCU. He's a big guy. Kate Stover, Ohio State. He's kind of in the small end. G-Man in the house. Great to see you, G-Man. It's been a while, brother. Thank you for tuning in. There's some good tight ends in this draft. You don't have to kind of reach for them. But they didn't use Mike Gesicki. What would we think they're going to use anyone else? They like Julian Hill. They didn't use Julian Hill.
Smythe. They didn't really use
Smythe
him.
is not a bad.
And he's a decent
pass
pass catching tight end. He's a decent. You can use him.
Yeah.
You can use him.
So
which is why I think Bob, one of the things that one of the reasons I like Bob Mike McDaniel is he growing as a coach? Yeah. Are they going to be calling? And I think they asked him. I know you mentioned to me. I didn't even know that they were doing the exit interviews today. But I was catching up on when they asked him about play calling. I don't think he's a bad play caller. He's an excellent play designer. Does he have the feel for the game, the experience? Maybe not. But he is supremely intelligent. He's in the moment. Is he sometimes prisoner of the moment? Yes. Do I believe he can adapt? Or do I believe if our OC doesn't leave, does Darren Bell get a promotion as OC and maybe calls plays? I like his response. He said everything's on the table. That shows me that he is willing to sit down with his coaching staff, analyze everything, let's get this over the hump.
They know, and G-Man, I apologize ahead of time, brother. The episode, we are talking the game. Alex hasn't had a chance to react to the Kansas City game, so we're letting him go ahead, and that's how we kind of got on topic.
Yeah,
but we are going to talk. We are going to talk some Tua, and so I forgive you, and I don't think it's going to be as bad as some might think. But
I'm talking about the game like happened last week. I think we did. We're good in the trenches, and we're
he hasn't talked. He hasn't had a chance. Yes, it's a priority because McDaniel said at press conference offense is evolving.
Yes.
Maybe.
I think there's missing piece. I do believe a pass catching tight end, while being a good blocking tight end, is a missing piece. A third receiver, a possession receiver like a Claypool. Yeah. I'm interested to see, Bobby. I was going to ask you this, and I forgot to ask you when we talked earlier today. Do you think they re-signed Claypool? Because I like Claypool as a possession receiver. I love them as a potential tight end. But do you think they re-sign him on a prove-it deal? Because I don't think there's any team that's really going to take a chance on him. And I mean, there's going to be a team that takes a chance on him. But I do believe that they've invested the time while he's here. He's learned the playbook. I do believe there could be a role that can change our offense too and diversify our offense.
Well, and again, he's going to have a whole offseason
Mhm.
to deal with that.
Is he a free
Waddle's good
agent?
trade bait. I don't know. I don't have
I
that in
gotta
front of
check
me. I'm
that.
sure somebody
Okay.
could pop that up. Anthony, I will read your comment. I do want to say something to G-Man because he did say this. Tua, we have bigger problems than Tua. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Tua's not the problem. And
He's
I
not
say
the main
this,
problem.
I know that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He's not the problem. He's a part of it, but he's not the problem because, it's bigger than that. You're absolutely right. And people, look, the truth of the matter is, Tua is not bad. He's not a bad quarterback. No. To me, good. Could have some great plays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the difference in the games, I think, a lot, too, is elite to good quarterback, because you see what Pat Mahomes did. You see what Josh Allen did. You see what Lamar Jackson did. When you have your weapons, and I know people talk about the injuries, but when you have Tyreek, Jalen, Raheem, Achen, you have all those guys, there's no reason why we should add 7 points on the board against Kansas City. And that's not just on Tua. That's on McDaniel. That's on the offense. The offense did not show up. The defense had 27 sacks worth of injuries. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Van Ginkel, Baker, all out.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Howard as well. All those guys are out on defense. That's 27 worth of sacks off the field. And the defense didn't do too bad, in my opinion. I know there's some spots they miss. Most teams do. But the defense held up. The offense, there's no reason why the offense should have put up 7 points.
No.
0. Let me get to some comments here, Alex.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
And after that, can I give a take that I have on Tua for next year?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk all about it. But
go ahead.
Anthony said something about tight end. How much do you think the Dolphins would need to give up to trade up for a guy like Brock Bauer from Georgia? We are 21 right now, and that's the type of tight end McDaniel likes. He's almost the same as George Kittle from San Francisco.
Does he go in the teens? Do you think he goes in the teens?
I don't know, but remember, there's a lot of quarterbacks available in this draft, and teams are going to trade up. And what happens when that occurs? The great players drop. So, and I'm going to tell you one thing. Besides quarterback, do not sleep on any position for the Dolphins in the draft.
No.
Not one position.
Linebacker, anything.
And again, maybe in the late rounds, I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterback, maybe, just to keep kind of flushing through. But first round pick, don't sleep on any position other than quarterback. Corner, receiver, tight end, tackle, lineman, center, DT, edge
best
rush.
Talent available, best player available.
Don't sleep. What would they give up? I don't know what they would have to give up because I think they may just see what falls to them. Don't be surprised. I'm going to say this. McDaniel's staying. We know that. Greer's staying. We know that. We don't know if Tua's going to get that 5th year. I mean, he has the 5th year option. We don't know if they're going to stay on that, if they're going to extend him. Those are the 2 options there. Play it out for 1 more year and extend him. We know he's coming back. But that first round pick, Greer kind of alluded it today, and I talked about it yesterday on Batter Fins Fans with Manny and Danny. McDaniel's first year, they got Tyreek. The second year, they got Jalen Ramsey. They're going to make a move. And Chris Greer said today when they asked him, are you going to use that first round pick? You haven't used one in 2 years. He says, can't keep any promises.
But he did say McDaniel really wants one.
He said McDaniel really wants one.
So he has
but
something
even McDaniel looked. And something I found interesting, and everybody, I know Evan got mad, at the press conference, whatever, but it's pretty normal for them. And guys, if you're writing any comments right now, I'm sorry I'm missing them because I'm way ahead of somewhere else. But it was a lot of reading between the lines. And when they asked if this team was running it back, the guy said, somebody said, from what I'm hearing is that, and which I didn't hear that at all, but he said, what I'm hearing is that you guys are basically saying you like the roster as is and you're going to ride it out and kind of run it back next season. And McDaniel kind of went like this. He kind of made his face. And I went, sign.
There's changes coming. The core will remain, but the supporting cast will change.
Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate you, brother. Hope everything's
Thank
good
you,
with
my
you
man.
as well, man.
I want to Bob, while you're reading the comments, I want to I want to give a take on Tua because you just mentioned him. A quick one. In regards to his fifth year option, I do believe they will have a contract extension in place. I do believe the money will be team friendly. There might be a lot of guaranteed money up front where it gives the Dolphins wiggle room to move on from him in 2 to 3 years. So it's not one of these like dead cap. And what I love also about what Chris Greer said, people that are I'm gonna say it's very simple. People that are on Twitter or X, freaking out over our cap situation. In the NFL, the cap situation is just a number, like an informality, because you can restructure deals on a fly. Obviously, we don't have the availability of a cap. Like we can't franchise tag someone this year because it was a hard cap situation. But we can get under the cap and have sufficient cap space to just restructure deals. You guarantee money, signing bonuses. So I'm not worried about that at all. Is the commitment from this is one thing is very important. If there's a commitment from Ross and they like the core that they have, he will commit the money. He will pay the signing bonus in order to give Chris Greer room to operate. Now, the Tua situation, I have 2 years to compare. Last year, our knock on Tua collectively was he's holding the ball too long. He's being too reckless with his body. He's going to get himself hurt. This year, our not our knock, but what we saw him playing, he played all games, correct. He trained in the offseason. I do believe he's going to lose maybe 10, 15 pounds, so he could be a little bit more mobile. That I'm not saying he's going to lose muscle mass. I do believe he was a little heavier than he should have been this year. So that's just an observation from the outside in. I'm not saying it affected his performance. He was a passing leader in the NFL. He could have even had more. I do believe we're going to get a balanced Tua where you're letting him play football. The last time I saw that, realistically, was game 2 of last year against Baltimore. I believe that was the time that we saw Tua playing football, where he wasn't controlled, he wasn't managed. I'm not saying he is now, but this offense is tailor-made, and in a sense, it limits what you do when you remove decision-making or when you remove the option to be truly who you are. Now, if we're going to fail, if I'm a coach, I put my coach's hat on. If I'm going to fail with you, I'm going to let you be everything that you are. So I know that I gave you the opportunity and I gave my team the opportunity. Now, am I going to design things not to shield you, but to maximize what you do well? That's fine. There's no problem. But my thing is, are we going to have a balanced Tua where he's allowed to scramble? You're not asking him to learn how to slide and all that, because that's one of the knocks. I understand his body type, but Tua, even after the hip injury, we saw him the year before. He was scrambling for first downs. He will move in the pocket. He will flush the pocket. He will be in and out. I want to see that Tua when the play breaks down. And even we saw that at the beginning of the year.
Let me stop right there for just a moment, because I heard someone say that earlier, and I'm tell you why that's not the case this year compared to last year. And I'm going to say this, not trying to start it.
Okay.
But just to say it, the reason why he's not doing that is because of the injury concerns. It's protecting yourself. You know, that's the bed
Man.
You made your bed, you have to sleep in it.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. He has those concerns. He's trying to protect himself.
Do you think it was because of contract wise? Do you think if he gets a deal,
I think it's a personal I don't know, because it's a personal goal. And I will say this about a deal. Oh, Belichick went to Atlanta to interview? I didn't see that.
Oh, look. You know what? People don't realize that's one of the best
That's
jobs
the team
available.
I called was Atlanta. I called Atlanta for Belichick, yeah.
I don't see a lot of people are talking Belichick to Dallas. I don't see that working.
No, not with that owner.
Now, do I see Mike Vrabel? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Vrabel.
Vrabel. I do see him going to the Cowboys or the Chargers.
So I want to talk about, because you talk about the extension, and I'm just making sure I have these numbers down so I could get it correct here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what year did we trade Tannehill? That's what I'm trying to figure out now. Let me go back.
Was it the year before? It was the year before we drafted Tua, right? Or was the year we drafted Tua?
I think it's the year we drafted
2019.
So 2019. Okay.
2019. We drafted Tua what? 2020.
Let me make sure here.
Because the year before we had Rosen.
So yeah, after the 2018 season, after the 2018 season. Okay, he was traded. All right. I'm just saying it here just as context so we can recall. So we drafted Tannehill in 2012.
Correct. We gave him an extension.
2014 he had an amazing season, great season. And he had people talk a lot of shit, but if you look at his stuff, he wasn't bad.
He had very decent seasons.
Well, 24 season or whatever. He had 2014 and 15. He had 4,045 yards, 27 touchdowns. I don't have the interceptions in front of me. But the Dolphins gave him a mega extension.
Yeah.
They signed him
at market value. I remember they gave him a market value deal.
That wasn't market value. That was one of the bigger extensions.
Yeah.
And Andrew that bit launched Andrew Luck's extension talks. But it was a 4-year extension, including $77 million in new money, $95 million over 6 years in total, 25 in guaranteed, $45 million in guaranteed over the life of the deal. So that was before, and then of course
that was before the 5 year. He didn't play with his 5 year option. They extended him before his.
Because it was 3 years. He was 3 years in. So it's not unheard of. What I'm saying is, the reason why I bring that up is that if we wake up tomorrow and and Tua's extended for 5 years, people are going to scream the end of the world if they don't want Tua as their quarterback. But in the end, it's not really the end of the world.
It's not the end, man.
Because every contract it's just what it is. I'm not saying that's a bad thing if they do it, because right now, Tua's on his 5th-year option. They don't have to do a damn thing unless he holds out. They could easily say, let's see how it goes. And Tua might say the same thing. Tua might say, you know what? I'm willing to bet on myself. I'll play another year. Either you extend me or I ride somewhere else. But if they did, something like this could play out like they would Tannehill, and they traded him 3 seasons later. And I know that's some people hear that and they go, no, but still. The fans that spend money on the team are part of the problem. You keep giving them money. And that's why, again, and I'll say this, that's what sucks. You got to feel for the fans who invest in this team. And that's why I don't believe in people telling people how to fan. If you're pissed about the way it ended and you want to call for people's jobs and you want to do this and want to do that, that's your right, dude. And you're a fan, dude. You have every right.
I ask you one thing, man. Let's remove our fan loyalty. Let's remove the fact that we're Dolphin fans, right? You start analyzing the team. You look at this core, okay? You look at the core of players that we have. What hurts about this year is that everything seemed to line up for us to take over. Buffalo was playing 500 ball. There was turmoil internally. Aaron Rodgers goes down the first game of the year. So the AFC East was ours this year. There was no excuse.
That's the problem, bro.
And then you see that. So that's our reality, right? And then you see our core and you see the improvements in certain areas. And you're like, okay. I've always said this, and I know off the record, we know our quarterback list, you and me, when Tua was drafted. We know that. I'm not going to say it on the show because people are going to think it's in the moment and all that, but we know our exact list. We have Tua. We go with Tua. I always compared him to a Drew Brees. And the other day, I sat down and I looked up Drew Brees' first 4 years in the league. People forget about this. But Drew Brees wasn't always the Drew Brees of the Saints.
No.
When Drew Brees was with the Chargers, there was growing pains. Obviously, it was a different offensive system that he was running. But if I'm not mistaken, once he went to the Saints, you saw the blow up. It wasn't successful in the beginning. There was growing pains. Offensively, they were getting there. They won 1 championship. But I saw that same jump with Tua when McDaniel came on board. Now, does that change? Does that improve? That's what this offseason is. This is really, and I'm not saying this, that this is, you're continuing Oh yeah, well this one hurts. I wanted Drew Brees, man, and I still believe that. I don't know if that story was true about the doctors not clearing it, but that was a franchise altering decision, and you never know. We might still have Nick Saban if he would have signed Drew Brees, because I know that was his number one option. So I know I segue there, but it's I see the growth potential even in the times of turmoil. Okay, what am I going to look at realistically? And we've talked about this. Is there any option this year better than Tua for the Miami Dolphins? I don't believe there is. I genuinely do not believe there is. And in this offensive system, that this is his third year with McDaniel, with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, with a chain. Now you go into the offseason and you have options at running back. You can go get a Derrick Henry. You can re-sign. Is Mosterball, by the way, signed through next year, or he's an unrestricted free agent? I've
I believe
never.
it's
I
a year
don't. I
left in his
don't.
deal, but I think it's an option. I think it's an
Oh,
option.
like a player option.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's a player option, for
I'm
sure he's
pretty
gonna opt
sure.
out because he's gonna get more money anywhere else he goes. But
He
there's things
could.
that. Oh, there's things that is like you see the growth potential. You see I don't believe we've maxed out. I do not genuinely believe we've maxed out. I believe we've maxed out with what we're doing right now schematically and with our personnel, but there's ways to move out of that and diversify the offense a little bit. So, new voices also could help within the same coaching. That's why we're players. You're never going to have the same exact team over and over. In the NFL, every year a component of your team changes. Your core won't change, but a component changes through the draft, through free agency, through injuries. So I'm like I said, I know it's still fresh, and how the season ended, I think, has magnified what we always felt. So it was the way it ended. It's not that it ended; it's how it ended, and where you didn't feel you had a chance at all, at all. Like you had so much talent and you misused it. Like we wasted a year, and it's true, we wasted a golden opportunity this year. Like we're not gonna have the AFC East open like that ever again. I don't believe in the time coming now, because
No.
it's just going to get harder and harder. So we'll see.
And that's the thing. And you just talk about, and you bring up a great point. I've seen a lot of people compare Drew Brees, or they use that as an excuse as why, why people should be patient with Tua. And I get that. But again, I don't think it's fair to Tua to compare him to Drew Brees or Russell Wilson or anybody. Tua is Tua.
Exactly.
You people, put him on a pedestal, and other people put him below. Just take him for what he is. Take him. Mozart is an unrestricted free agent in 2025.
2025.
No.
Okay.
So
Oh, thank you, Ralph, coming through in the clutch. That's my man right there.
Always.
But you see, now we gotta now, Ralph. Since you're on the topic, can you find out if what he has for next year is a player option?
I think it's the same thing as Wilson too. I'm pretty sure, or a team option. I'm not sure, but I think it was it's a 2-year deal, but there's an opt out.
I asked you, Bob, what would you do if
With what?
player option Mozart opts out? Who do you pursue? Do you want Derrick Henry, or you will go Derrick Henry?
You got to go game changer,
and you maximize the chain.
Yeah, and I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, but look what Mozart did this year," and there's no denying. I love Raheem Mozart. Great what he did with a chip on his shoulder when he came through.
His name is Dominique.
His first name's Dominique.
Oh,
but he wasn't there in the final stretch, and they hardly used him in the first. And people were wondering why the Dolphins ran away from running the ball, why they went away from it when you have Devon H. If you have a player like a Derrick Henry paired up with a hold on one second, I got a sound playing here. Stupid.
Can you imagine a chain running behind Ingold and Derrick Henry? They're not exciting.
They're not exciting. They're overrated.
Who are we talking about?
He's talking about Derrick Henry, no cowbell.
Derrick Henry. Ooh.
I think that.
Okay. Would you go that extent, money wise? Does that work?
He sent you the link. He sent something to you. Guys.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm open to I'm open to that. Barkley or Derrick Henry, because you bring in that type of player, there's no way you turn away from the running game. When you have that type of back, there's no way you turn away from that.
He signed, Bob. He signed a 2-year deal.
Okay.
Signing bonus and average salaries. It doesn't say anything. It just says UFA. Yeah, unrestricted free agent in 2025. So I believe he's signed for next year. Oh no, potential out.
There it is.
Dead cap. Okay, it will be if he. Okay, potential out is 650 and dead cap. Okay. Yeah, it's so crazy, man. The contracts compared to like NBA and MLB, like there's so many.
And it's not about weapons. It's not about weapons, Hunter. And somebody said that earlier.
No,
Someone
man.
said that earlier, like, "Oh, Tua needs more weapons." I laughed at that. It's like, dude, Tyreek,
you need to use what you have.
HN Mozart. Yeah, I'm just saying we need a running back that would limit McDaniel from being a prisoner of the passing game. I kind of debated back and forth with Danny of Batter Fin Fans about that because he's like, well, McDaniel is a passing game coach. He loves passing the ball. Why? Why does he like passing the ball? When he was a run game coordinator in San Francisco, why does he like passing the ball in Miami?
That's the weapons he has.
The weapons he has, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. You give him a Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and a player of the potential of Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry or whomever, he's not going to run away from the run. He's not going to be Pete Carroll when he had Marshawn Lynch. You know, he's going to run the ball. You're going to have a balanced attack, and you need that. You need somebody like that in the winter months too. That when you have, it's the winter and your quarterback can't throw for some reason all of a sudden, or is overthrowing or whatever, you can run the ball and push the chains.
But what I do think, Bob, that you said is like, I wouldn't classify it as we need more weapons. I believe we need a more diverse player, like a Claypool. Like you know what name I was thinking about? Oronde Gadsden. We need a receiver like that to play off of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
And I will say, number one offense in the league. That's fraudulent. That's statistic wise, they weren't the number one offense. That was the beginning of the season when they threw 70 points on Denver, and that was it because they got exposed. They're not the number one offense. Bobby, I watched the GR. They couldn't do it. Yeah, exactly, G-Man. Because everybody's saying the Dolphins fraud, and I said, when I was watching that final stretch of games, I said this offense is the pretenders. They couldn't figure out.
If the offense would have done the minimal, we would have won 3 of those games. Like just minimal production.
Heat win in overtime, 96-95.
We won? Nice.
It was a fraud. That's why the season was a failure. That's why, G-Man, I say the season's a failure. Making the playoffs is not enough. You had to win a game, and you didn't do it. You did not do it. And, at least we got the Heat and the Panthers, or for those who are Heat and Panther fans, and, some of you may not be. But
this is crazy, man. I saw the beginning of the game, and I just turned it off. But on jump shots in the first half, we were 1 for 25. You don't win a basketball game when you score 31 points in the first half. Like they came out flat, man. And to come back, this is one of those like ugly games from the 90s where you just come back and you grind it out. This is like a Miami Heat type of win. And you need some of those, even though no matter how high scoring offenses are, you need some of those games.
So, Alex.
Yes, sir.
I know
shoot away, bro. Shoot away. It's looking like you're going to fire up a question for me there.
I got a couple for you. So my thing is this.
Go ahead.
I know, in regards to, I know, again, we talked about our list in the draft, what we wanted, etc.
Yes.
But we know how it played out.
Mm-hmm.
You've been, when Tua was drafted, I got his jersey and whatnot. We all had high hopes because
we've been supportive. We've been supportive. Yeah.
You've been high on, you were like, I told you, I said, calling him bad is just not true. He's good. He has great plays. You said he could be in that elite category.
Yes.
But after watching, we've seen 4 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
We understand the numbers, but again, the numbers could be misleading.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those numbers were picked up in the first half of the season. Still count. Can't hide from that.
Mm-hmm.
But your opinion, have you come down off the elite talk right now? Where are you and where Tua stands as your eyes on him as a quarterback?
I believe it's cemented between good and great, not elite, because elite. I
don't even know what it means, but okay.
Elite will be a quarterback that wins no matter what, no matter the situation, no matter the outcome, no matter the injuries. Those are very few and far in between. Right now in the NFL, you would say you have some quarterbacks with potential eliteness, but elite, you got Jackson, Allen, Mahomes. I can't really think of anybody else that is an elite quarterback. Well, I mean, Joey Burrow, you can put him there in that category. But I believe everybody else is great.
I
But
think he can make some elite plays, especially with weapons like
yes,
that.
yes. And
But
is he the most accurate quarterback right now? I would say so. I can argue because the windows that he throws in, obviously, a lot of this offense is based on your route running, and which is why the pick on Claypool, I understand that he was thrown in the window, but you have to take into you see that's the situation where I'm mentioning right here. I understand you're throwing to a window. He's supposed to be in that route, but as an elite quarterback, you know that he's not Tyreek Hill, he's not Jalen Waddle, he's not going to come out crisp off that route. So I'm looking at my multiple options, and I believe that was one of the plays that he had Smite over the middle or Wilson. That was when he threw the pick to Claypool. I think he had Cedric Wilson on a slant going across the field. That was the right read. There was a few reads that he had Waddle yesterday. So it was one of those situations that I do believe Tua can be top tier great when you have a combination of him being aggressive and just balling out. Like I'm telling you, the Tua that I know it's not always going to be the situation, but the Tua that I always envisioned as a football player was the Tua that played against Baltimore in Game 2. I understand they were depleted in the secondary, but it was a Tua that was stepping in the pocket and firing. He was just going out, and he was scrambling. He was getting hit. But that's how I always envisioned playing Tua. This
but
this year looks to be
yeah,
like a more conservative stat
he's
packing.
he's
And
limited, and that limits our offense. That's
exactly.
a fact. And again, I saw it in here. That's what I said. Above average, good.
But
That's
he's
where it
he's
is right
limited.
now.
In what aspect is he limited to you?
Well, right now, the injury concerns. That's why he's not running. People said it. I think Marissa Marino
Mm-hmm.
of Dolphins Talk. She was on Dolphins Diaries early today with Courtney, and she said I think his longest run was 10 yards this season. What was it
Mm-hmm.
last year? And the
Well,
and I told you this. I said
yeah.
this earlier to you. Why is it like that? You said I don't understand how last year he was running and doing all this stuff, and now he's not doing it this year. It's very easy. Injury concerns. They don't want to risk it.
It's
They
by
don't want to
design.
risk it.
It's by design.
So you limit him.
Yeah.
You say that's why when he ran for it, it was fourth down. He ran. I forgot what game it was, either Baltimore or Buffalo. He ran for
Yeah.
it on
And he
fourth
was
down. The game,
two
and he
short shorts
slid
or three.
10
Yeah.
yards short. And it's like,
That's
why don't you die for it? Because he's protecting himself.
yeah.
So you limit him to whatever he has left, and he limits the offense. It's just what it is.
But you see, like that's the thing here. I don't know if it was by design because you see a quarterback, and I'm gonna. This is just to me thinking
Took a
about
minute.
physical player. A quarterback does not go from being a gunslinger. I'm holding the ball. I'm gonna throw some picks because I'm making the decision. I'm trying to put it in a tight window. To by design, releasing the ball in 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds. That's your offensive design. I understand you have speed there to your advantage, but what I don't like about that is that I do believe, and I think this is even more limiting than injury concerns. It limits you decision wise because you have to get the ball out before 2.5 seconds. So if your first read is not there, he goes through his progressions pretty quick in the beginning of the year. But as the year went on, you saw that progression slow down a little bit. So you can also make it easier for him by giving him more leeway where I can make some mistakes, I can be careless at times, but you're going to let me go through my progressions at my speed. And cuz I don't feel that he's a bad decision maker. I feel he rushes things for that. And he didn't used to rush things before. That wasn't the critique that we had on him, I believe, right? Or I might be wrong. I might be
Say that
wrong
one more
because
time.
I, I I don't believe he's a bad decision maker. I believe he rushes those decisions, so it's a bad decision. Because the tour before, he will go through all his progressions, and he typically made the right move before. This year, we started seeing some forced plays, some turnovers that were just him sticking to his number one option. I might be wrong.
So,
but
in your eyes, do you think he regressed?
No, I don't think he regressed. I think he was prisoner of the moment. He was playing because he still led the league in passing yards.
So
He still had the number one. The
again,
running back game improved, so we
Yeah.
didn't regress. Now, is there another level he can reach if he's just allowed to play football? I do believe so. I generally do. When injury concerns aside, I don't like a conservative Tua. I don't like that. If we're gonna ball out with Tua, let him be Tua. Let him do what he
but
does.
here's the problem: you let him be Tua, and you
Uh-huh.
maybe have him for 8 games, and he goes to run for a 15-yard run. He gets smashed like Pat Mahomes did by Deshaun Elliott, breaks his helmet, and then Tua's out of the 5 games into the playoff run, and then you don't have him, and you extended him to this major deal. That's the problem, and that's why it's limited.
But then, if you give him an extension, Bobby, and then you limit him to you can't do this, you can't do that, are you really ever going to get the best of him for this team? Is
I
he
think
ever
you've
going to
seen the best of him?
Huh?
I think you've seen the best of him.
I mean,
That's the thing.
In the system, the way it's
We're
designed.
4
probably.
years in. We're 4 years in. That's why I tell people, and I've said this, and he is who he is. There's no more, there's no less. He is who he is. He's shown you his resume early in the year. He did it last year. He's consistent with that. He's responded too. He knows what goals are. He listens to the noise too. You know, the noise this year was staying healthy. He played every game this season.
Yeah, he answered
and
that.
after this season, when they lost the playoffs, 26-7, his group let you know it. Finished the full season. Goal accomplished. That was your goal?
Well,
not winning a playoff game, not going to the Super Bowl. That was your goal?
I mean, you can find a little personal goal.
There was too many personal goals.
But you gotta admit, the talk was really loud. Tua can't stay healthy. He's not gonna be able to last the whole year.
That will last. That will be his whole career. One season will not silence that noise.
Well, but I mean, it does help if you now.
Would you feel comfortable giving him a major extension? If you were running the Dolphins, would you, with his concerns, everything, you would give a major extension?
I will give a major extension yet, as long as I have the flexibility to move on from him 2 to 3 years down the line. I'll give him upfront money. I'll give him guaranteed money for him because I believe that he will play more freely. I really do. Players don't play well with these 5-year options. That's the reason you negotiate these extensions. Mentally, you want to remove that from the player. Like I said, at the end of the day, these owners are billionaires, okay? Like, these owners do not care. I mean, they care, but when you have enough money, like a lot of these owners do, this is a sport for them. Jerry Jones just wants to win games. That's why you see him like that. He'll pay anything to win a Super Bowl. And that's another thing. I saw a stat which is insane. The Cowboys haven't gone to an NFC Championship game since 1995. That was a year after. Those are 2 years after Jimmy Johnson left, or I believe that was the last year because Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's team, which really should have been Jimmy Johnson's Super Bowl. So there's a lot of frustration across the NFL. At the end of the day, only one team accomplished their goal. Like, that's what people don't realize. 32 teams set out on a goal to win a championship. At the end of the day, only one team accomplishes that goal. Sometimes that team regresses the following year, but you have 31 teams left with how can we improve for the next year? And teams that are close, that are talented, those are the things that you start analyzing. In our case,
so if the Lions lose next week,
yes,
do you think the fans will be
not at all?
Dolphins
Not at all, because the Dolphins haven't won. The Lions haven't been in playoff games forever. So it would be the same reaction that we would have.
Exactly. The Dolphins have not won a playoff game since 2000.
Exactly.
Okay. And there's some teams saying how I know. There's some and
Lamar Smith running crazy.
31 other teams are going to be sitting there after the season going, how could we improve?
Yeah, absolutely.
But 30 teams, those 30 teams, other than that 31, that other one, didn't spend this many draft picks, this much draft capital, this much money on a whole roster to lose the wild card game and the job 3 games straight before the playoff. And again, that's why Tua is not the problem.
No.
it's bigger than that, you know. But
because you can make the argument, for example, Tennessee, and we talked about this. The defense stepped up, right? But the defense against Tennessee, those 2 minutes and a half, it was a total collapse. No one's going to talk about that now because it's a Tua conversation. And I'm not trying to bring it up. I'm not trying to make excuses. But it was a season of disappointments one way or the other throughout. But at the end of the day, the biggest disappointment in the room, and you take it because, like you mentioned, it comes with the territory. The quarterback position is the most important position in professional sports.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that it is the number one position that can affect an outcome of any game at any given moment. Because you have superstars in basketball, you got superstars in baseball, but there's many components to a game. In football, the quarterback is instrumental in everything that you do and everything you plan around. You build teams around that. You build franchises around them. So it is important. And I understand the frustrations of the fans. But I can remove myself. Do I see improvements in a lot of areas for the team? Do I see possibilities to improve? Absolutely. But am I disappointed as a fan? 100%. 100%. Because, like you mentioned, this was our year. This was the year that we were supposed to go and do that. Now, is it a blessing in disguise that we lose? So our problems are magnified once again, even while improving. And now you start realizing, like, holy shit, this is 2 years in a row, man. There's something here. We got to make a change. Because you can make the excuses last year of, okay, we were injured. Skylar Thompson goes into Buffalo. We lose a competitive game. We didn't have Tua. We would have had Tua. We would have won. That's the mindset that you went into this year. Let's keep Tua healthy, and we're going to make some noise in the playoffs. Now you see how it was, and you're like, wait a second. There's something missing here. We need to do something, or we need to change something. So usually losses, you learn a lot from your losses. You learn a lot from collapses because it's glaring weaknesses that your teams have, whether it's physicality, whether it's scheme, whatever the case may be. You don't learn much from winning because winning covers everything. And you could, obviously, as a coach, you do learn, but as overall fans, the excitement of winning tops a lot of the mistakes you see, tops a lot of the bad situations. But losing and how you lose, and you losing because you put yourself in this position, that doesn't mean we were guaranteed a win against the Bills at home if we were hosting them. That doesn't mean it guarantees a win against the Steelers if we were hosting them. But you would have put yourself in a position to have a better possibility to advance. So we put ourselves in the situation. We got to analyze why we did it and how it happened. And there's these meetings people think is all cool and funny and this and that. These meetings change lives. These exit meetings with coaches and staff meetings, they change players' lives and they change coaches' lives. So there's hard conversations that need to be had.
Absolutely. Dude. And there are changes that could, I believe.
Is Tampa Bay winning? Holy shit.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's winning right now. You know, they talk about a collapse. The Eagles, man. Philadelphia, dude.
Bob, do you know what?
I think couldn't happen to a better guy, though. I can't stand their coach. Though.
I think their coach is I thought the coach was going to get fired out of the way. I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick goes to Philadelphia.
Ooh, maybe.
Because I do believe he's lost the locker room there. There's a lot of internal problems going on. And what a fall from grace, man. What a fall from grace.
So you bring up a good point because it's hard to say this, but then ignore your point. I can't ignore it because you're right.
Go ahead.
What happened in New York with the Jets? Aaron Rodgers goes down. What happened with Buffalo being so far behind, a 3-game difference, and Miami allowing them to come at? This was Miami's shot to take advantage of that, win the East, get a bye maybe, or be the second seed. You didn't do that. You didn't have that home field advantage. You gave that all up. So
it's psychological at this point. It's mental dominance.
It's hard to think what Miami could do in the offseason that would better their situation going into next year. You know, does Miami's record's going to be a lot tougher. You look at the opponents for next season, that's a tough get. You know, and so I mean, we'll see what goes down, but what could really improve Miami's roster enough that will give them the opportunity to better themselves going into next year? And maybe it is a switch. Maybe
Maybe McDaniel, who knows what happens with Fangio? Does he decide to go back to Philadelphia? Do they make a change up there in regards of defensive coordinator? Decide whatnot? That's a lot of noise. I think Miami really, without saying much today, said enough to say, we're not okay with what went down here this year. We're going to there's going to be some changes. Maybe not the changes you want, but bigger changes that it's going to help us next season. Excuse me. Talking about possible changes, Christian Wilkins, he was kind of non-committal about that. He said they gave him a contract offer that they thought they're comfortable with contract discussions ongoing. They're going to let him right into free agency, see what he gets, and maybe offer him whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Connor Williams.
Yeah.
Xavier Howard does not sound like he's going to stay. I don't know if he's a free agent after this season, but if not, trade him. Teron Armstead might retire. So, out of those names, Van Ginkel's a free agent. Out of those names, Alex, who is one guy on this team that you would want back out of those guys heading into possibly free agency, retirement, or trade? Oh, shit. Sorry.
Live Mike. Honestly, the toughness and the persona, Wilkins. I think Wilkins makes a huge difference defensively, and as like I said, the personality that he brings to the team, because he's tough. He has the funny personality like McDaniel, but he's one of the toughest players that we have. Like he's there for his guys. I do believe also Javon Holland should work on an extension for him because he's also going into his option. Van Ginkel, you want back. Armstead is tricky to me because even if he retires, we still carry dead cap on him, but it's just the first year. So there's still some cap hurdles. And realistically, I know he's an injury concern. When he's on the field, he produces, but when is he on the field? So those are the situations where you might be better off moving on from him. I mean, it's crazy what I'm saying, but I think it's true. You might be able to move on from him while Lamb holds the position down and you draft his replacement. Because you can arguably get a left tackle with your first overall pick if that's what you want to go. Because I know they've traded the first round picks in consecutive years, but I do believe there's a chance that they hold on to it this year, unless there's something insane. Which at the end of the day, I mean, people that know football, when you trade for Tyreek Hill is a first round pick right now. Chubb was a first round pick, so you're not giving up on talent. Now, are you giving up on monetary compensation in regards to the difference in money if you would have made that first round selection? Yeah, of course, it's a give and take, but you're going all in. You were going with the Rams formula, and we'll figure it out later. But you went younger, so our core is still young. Now it's making the money work because you're going to have a hungry Phillips coming back. You're going to have a hungry Chubbs coming back. You have arguably one of the best safeties in football in Holland. My interesting part, where I believe it could be a huge difference, is in regards to the opposite corner to Jalen Ramsey, if Howard is not back. I still do not understand. I mean, I know Fangio went a little bit into, I consider trading Reek for a top 5 pick. You know what? That's, I don't know if I'm there yet, because I believe he's still the most dynamic wide receiver in the NFL. But I do believe that, I was going to say one of the changes, I do believe this year coming up, Tyreek Hill cannot be your only focal point on offense. You're going to use Tyreek Hill he's still going to produce. He's still going to get you these eight receptions, 170 yards, 2 touchdown games. But I do believe that you should have a more balanced attack in regards to Tyreek Hill shouldn't be above Jalen Waddle production-wise across the board. I believe that's a recipe for disaster because a lot of people compare C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love performance. I know their teams were up by a lot, but they ran the football. And I do believe that's one thing that's going to alleviate Tua next year. And I know this year we made the commitment to run, but look at how Andy Reid and even at the commentators put it out. Like, this is the Kansas City Chiefs of old. This is a new style of Kansas City team. So they were running the football. Isaiah Pacheco ran over us, and that's one thing that pissed me off, Bob. I know it was cold. I know the playing conditions weren't ideal, but man, some of these linebackers, some of these DBs for the Dolphins, they give up on a few plays, especially one where Duke Riley with Mahomes, that he just basically let him run by him. That's the moment I knew. I'm like, oh, bro, this team has just stunk it in, bro. Like they're not gonna do anything else. Like you had an opportunity to stop them, and you just let them ride through. And like I said, I don't want to misquote this because the defense played their hearts out, and the only reason we were in that game until we were not is because of the defense. So there's going to be moving parts. And Xavier Howard, I don't know in regards to his contract. Obviously, he signed long term, I believe like 2 more years. But if you're going to move on from him, who's his replacement? Is it Cam Smith? Is he going to have a full year in Fangio's system and now in the offseason make that leap? Because we can't question Cam Smith athletically. There has to be something that he was not doing right. He wasn't picking up the system, but I don't know. And now another thing that because I know you can talk about the draft, but if we do lose some of these key pieces, there are other free agents that we might pursue, and I know that might be for another show that you guys have coming up. But there are some interesting free agents that we can approach. But once again, it comes into your cap situation. You have to restructure a lot of deals. So those are things that until the first domino falls, until you get, like, for example, the Wilkins number, until you get the Xavier Howard situation figured out, everybody else you can work on. Even a Tua extension, how much money, because then Tua's cap reduces next year. There's a lot of ways you can go about this. So it's really early. We got to wait it out. We got to let it play out, and then we'll go from there. We got to let the feelings subside a little bit and make smart football decisions. That's it. That's my
And
only
I
point.
think, all great points. I think that's exactly what Miami is doing. I will say, and I agree with Chef. I'm defensive as well, defensive guy. I believe, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets, and nothing was more true than our team there. Freeze Fin 72, great to see you. G-Man coming in with the jokes. Max.
That's a funny joke right there. I don't care. That's a funny ass
Yeah,
joke.
yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, Andrew Van Ginkel, Wilkins, Needham, Robert Hunt, all guys that should come back, but at the right price. Andrew Van Ginkel was one of those game changers. He needs to remain. I would hope Wilkins does come back, but like Greer said, he's earned the right to test free agency, see if he gets the money he wants to get. If not, he loves Miami. Miami loves him. Xavier Howard, though, brought up a great point. They said, would you take a pay cut? He said, would you take a pay cut from your boss? It's true. I can't hate guys for that. I don't hate guys for their.
The only thing I'll say to that before you forget, I don't mind it because it's true. But the only reason, if you're going to release me or cut me and I'm not going to get more money elsewhere, I'll take a pay cut to stay in a situation that I like if I'm not going to get more money elsewhere. But if you're
Yeah.
just asking me to take a pay cut and I can get that same money somewhere else, absolutely not. No, it's my value. Or now, I depend. I mean, Xavier Howard likes Miami, obviously, but that goes into family situations. Am I willing to stay here for a little bit less money? I'm older, I'm secure, I have businesses. Those are the situations that you look at as a player because it's not all
Yeah.
about money, but it's true. If you're going to ask me to take a pay cut, it has to be for a reason. We're going to improve this team. Other people are going to take pay cuts too. Other people are going to sacrifice, just not me.
G-Man, you're going to troll the Eagles fans after this game. Man, they are
Dude,
going to be
it's
somewhere else.
man. You know, I feel bad for Kelsey. He comes back for one more year, and it ends this way.
Yeah, but it's something we're about to be here. Yeah. I mean, and what, can't hate him for it. Let me just say this. Okay, so on yardbarker.com, Zach Rasink, I hope that's the right way. I butcher names. But he was talking about this with the press conference today from Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. Chris Greer said this during the conference when asked about a long-term deal. He goes, the goal is to have him here long-term and playing at a high level. I think that's key word right there, playing at a high level. That goes with that Tannehill discussion earlier.
And the goal. He says the goal. It's not a for sure. It's a goal.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's a goal.
He says, my goal is to have him here long term and playing at a high level. Mm-hmm. That's always the goal, and we'll continue to communicate with him through the offseason. Moving past that, they bring up, of course, how he played at the beginning of the year to how he finished. ESPN, they're talking about that. Per David Lang of WPLG Local 10 out of Miami, Greer added on Monday that the Dolphins have stayed in touch with Tua's agent. They've had good conversations throughout the year. I know he said they had good conversations, but they didn't talk about money, just about how he's played and how he's progressed. We've had good conversations throughout the year. Mike Florio suggested Greer could see if Tua's camp would accept a good but not great multi-year offer this offseason, something that you alluded to, a safe deal, a long-term deal, but a safe deal probably with incentives to, if he hits a certain numbers, if he's healthy, certain games, whatnot. So
correct.
And Miami could use the franchise tag on Tua after the 25 season, in the 2025 season. X has a lot of child support. Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, there's a reason he doesn't want to leave Miami, man. He doesn't want to leave Miami, bro. No state tax, child support. There's a lot of things.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, man.
It's a wait and see, but I know there's a lot of strong feelings on Tua. There's been since the day he was drafted, and that's going to be forever. That's going to be as long as he's here.
Untraceable cryptos. That's funny, man.
Oh my gosh. 72 undefeated in the house. What's up, brother? Oh my goodness. But I was saying about Tua. But they're not wrong. G-Man's not wrong. Tua is not the problem, not the problem. There's a lot of bigger problems in Miami. He's shown, he's good. Could be great. Has had some elite plays beginning of the year. I know some people are living on recent because it's what you've done for me lately. And here's a question for everybody. Is there any quarterback going into free agency this season? There's a lot. And this is really for the people who are calling for Tua not to be the quarterback. But is there any quarterback coming in under free agency that you would bring in now to the Dolphins that you could see if Cap worked out that you could bring in that could replace Tua? Who's available now that's better than Tua?
No, do you want me to answer that, or I just stay quiet?
You go ahead and answer that. Well, anybody who wants to answer could do it on the bottom.
There is no one available right now for this team that is feasible for us that is better than Tua, and that's my number one thing. Yes. Am I a homer sometimes? Absolutely. Am I supportive of my team? 100%. But I'm also realistic. What really upsets me is the people that go on Twitter or on X, and then they blame absolutely everything on one person. And I told you about this 3 years ago, or then you have the fans that are calling for everything is on Tua, and I was right about Tua, and this and that. I'm like, yeah, you could be right in certain things, but what solution right now do we have that is Minshew? I love Minshew. I would love Minshew as a backup and pushes if Tua gets hurt. But if given the opportunity,
2 names. So
Sam
these
Howell,
names.
that's
the names
another,
right here. So this was my. I got asked that question yesterday.
Okay.
And my answer was I think the correct. There's nobody I can see that you could bring in that could straight up replace Tua. That's going to be quote unquote better than Tua. But I think you could bring in someone who could push Tua. I think you could put someone in that Tua knows Tua's not worried about Mike White. Tua's not worried about Skylar Thompson.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I like Skylar. But Gardner Minshew, reliable backup, maybe push him in preseason. Okay. Baker Mayfield, abso-freaking-lutely. Problem is, I think Tampa Bay resigns him, especially after today. Fields, I think that would happen only if you rid if Tua was gone. The only player, maybe the Rams will trade Stafford.
I don't think the Rams will trade Stafford, man.
But there's G-Man coming in the clutch. That's an interesting one. That's an
Cam
interesting one.
Newton's bluff. I mean, Cam Newton would be a great. I always love Cam Newton, but I mean,
Yeah.
and realistically, obviously, aside from that, if there was one quarterback that I've always wanted, and I remember this was the most upset that I've ever been in a Dolphins draft, and that's aside from the Ted Ginn family situation, because that was a personal
Yeah.
thing for you and me. We were waiting for
Yeah.
2 hours, and we thought we were going to get a quarterback, and we got Ted Ginn and his family. But there was nothing that I was more upset about when we passed up on Lamar Jackson. I thought that there was no possible way that we will pass on Lamar Jackson. I thought that if Lamar Jackson was on the board, it was an automatic boom, Lamar Jackson. But we passed up on him. So that's when I was most upset.
Fact of the matter is, put the bottle down. Fact of the matter is, as much as painful as it sounds, we are stuck with the current situation in regards of the trifecta, as I've seen in the comments. Greer, McDaniel,
Bob,
Tua for at least
Kirk
a season.
Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Is he a legit upgrade for you, man? Would you do that? Do you see that as a Stafford taking over for Goff situation? Like, would Kirk Cousins put this team above?
That's a great
Toughness, you can't
analogy.
question.
I like the way you asked me that. I don't hate Kirk Cousins. I don't think he gets enough respect. I like Kirk Cousins. Do I actually think he moves the needle that much? No. Do I think he might be a little more consistent? Maybe. I mean, his play throughout the year. He's played in the cold. He's played in Washington. He's played in Minnesota. He's played in Green Bay. He knows how to play in those type of elements. That might be a benefit. Is he the Matt Stafford to Tua's Goff? That's a great question. I don't know. Would I hate it? Absolutely not. I like Cousins. I do.
Because I'll offer you this
Tua obviously
option
has.
too.
I don't know.
Remember, the Rams extended Goff, if I'm not mistaken. They traded him after his extension. So people,
That's true, man.
we can still move.
G-Man and Max, Kohler, and Color, man. It's so great to see you, brother. Color commentary, a Fitz tailgate in the house. Ray Finkel says the same thing. You know what? I like Kirk Cousins.
If we use our tight end.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
Which I think.
You know what?
That's the McDaniel thing.
If there was a guy, Kirk Cousins is the guy if you're going to do it.
If you're going to do it.
He's there.
Okay.
If you're going to do it. Will they do it?
Is there any name that could come up? Now, for example, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't do it, but I know the name is going to come up. Russell Wilson. Would you do Russell Wilson in that aspect? I particularly wouldn't do it, but I'm just throwing it out there. I do believe in now. I just want to mention this to Cooler. Cooler commentary. Perfect.
Just
really?
to say it faster.
Jamila, Culia. I'll say it like French. Culia. Evan, can you please help me out? How do you pronounce this word? I do believe that's going to be also the next evolution.
See, and that's what they. That's what I was going to say. My problem is with. That's my thing too. No, Max. No. Come on, man.
Like 3 years, 4 years too late.
Russell
man.
Wilson. If you didn't have a franchise, if you didn't have a guy like Tua, maybe. But I think Cousins would be a better bet than Russell Wilson. It's Scottish pronounced color. Yeah, see color commentary.
Josh Dobbs.
Thank you, Color. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, Dobbs? 100%. I talked about him earlier in the year, G-Man. In midseason, I said, Dobbs, you bring him in as a backup. He could push him. You need it. Tua, doesn't last the season. I trust him to win a couple games. I take Dobbs for sure. I'll say another name I said yesterday. Got a good reaction. I don't know if it will here with this crowd. Ryan Tannehill. I would.
As
Ryan
a backup,
Tannehill,
I'll take him.
Yeah, backup. Push him in the offseason. In the preseason, excuse me. I think he can win you a couple games if he needs to come in. I would love to see it.
Who do you think makes a play for Cincinnati's backup quarterback? Well, I forgot his name right
Appreciate you, Chef. Say what?
Which team makes a play?
Oh,
for Cincinnati's
Browning.
Browning. He's going to be a starting quarterback next year somewhere.
This era's Matt Flynn. I don't know.
Matt Flynn. Well, no,
No.
I think he's much better than Matt Flynn, bro. He's much better than Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn was one game. One game. 1 year retirement tour. I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Hey, and I'm not kidding. I have more respect for Tannehill, I guess, than most people do. I don't know, but
You always respected him.
yeah,
I think that's true. Hooker too.
Well, Hooker's in a state. He's in Detroit, now. They're probably going to extend Goff. Yeah, but Hendon Hooker is a guy I loved coming out.
But now, do you see that situation in Detroit being like Alex Smith and Mahomes, where they'll play golf up to a certain point and then Hooker takes over? Is that the talent level that he has, or no? Arm strength he has.
I don't know. I like Hendon Hooker. I like his ceiling, but I'm really happy for Goff. I think what they're doing in Detroit is special.
He's in a perfect situation. He's in a perfect situation. But look what they have.
I don't hate.
Great receiver.
I'm not where Evan is right now. I'm not. Yeah, if he wins it all, he's not going nowhere, Goff. I'm not where Evan is on McDaniel. I have my feelings on McDaniel, but I'm not about it. But Dan Campbell, watching him lead that team,
oh yeah,
man, I wanted him before we hired whoever we hired. I think it was Gase.
Yeah.
It should have been Campbell, but I'm still just letting everybody know. I just got over strep, so I'm doing better. But my voice keeps going out, so forgive me. And of course, screaming at the Dolphins on Sunday, Saturday, and
going through puberty. It's a lot of things going on at the same time.
Yeah, I just grew some hair on the ass. I'm just gonna.
And look, it took Campbell 4 years, and he's built a winner in Detroit because people believed in him. Is it 3 years or 4 years? He's been there 3 years, or 4?
I don't know.
How many years has Campbell been there? Holy shit!
I don't know, but again, and that's why, like, I could understand. I just got over it. G-Man, it's good to have you back, brother. It's good to have you back. That's hilarious, dude.
Bills are 49ers Super Bowl. Oh, I mean, Bills look strong, man. Bills look strong.
Fur ball, yeah. Yes,
ball. Oh man.
Thank you. I'm almost out of water. Appreciate it.
Hey, just coming in the clutch, man. There you go. Yeah. In the clutch.
Tati coming in the clutch.
That's love right there.
I tell you, that's what the Dolphins do.
Oh man.
That's why G-Man's sick of it. That's why G-Man, Evan, Fitzstanza, they're sick of it. Got me wasting my damn voice here.
I don't think the Chiefs beat the Bills.
You better hope so, Alex. All that shit you talked earlier in the year.
No, I know, man. I know. I mean, the Bills defense has taken a beating. They're really hurt, bro. And the Chiefs, man, I've never thought I would say this, but a Patrick Mahomes team looked like Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, but they look like such a dominant running football team. Their offensive line is great. Their defense is young, and they've rebuilt themselves. And Rice has picked up, and he's showing what they can be. Kind of like the Packers receiver. Packers are going to be elite offensively for the next 5 to 6 years, man. What they have built there, and with Jordan Love coming in, like, it's a perfect stepping stone, which is ideally, I think it's the only franchise that has done it repeatedly, where their quarterback sits for 2 to 3 years and takes over for a legend. And they're doing it again. So, Stager, my props to you, man. I know we've talked about it in the offseason, and they was going to have a troubling times. Did they expedite their growth like the Texans did? Yeah, man. They overperformed, and you can see why. And then you go into Dallas, and you dominate Dallas. And the Texans dominate their opponent. So there's going to be competitive football for a while.
Absolutely. All right, let's do something before we wrap this up. Just to
question, something fun?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Perfect.
And just to remind everybody, first off, I appreciate everyone tuning in and chiming in, and I really do appreciate all you, Daniel, G-Man, Ray, Friesfin 72, 72 Dynasty, Cliff D, Chris Sucks, yeah, Max, so forth. Everyone tuning in right now, thank you so much. Watching East 10th Street Boys straight out of Hialeah on the Fitstock Sports Network, sponsored by Caneswear at Miami Fanswear. If you live in Florida, go to Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or go to caneswear.com, and they got everything from Dolphins, Marlins, Heat, Panthers, Hurricanes. They've got it all. Great stuff there, man. I got a beautiful Dolphins starter jacket. I'm not ashamed of. I know G-Man is pissed. I love it, man. My wife got it for me on Christmas. Happy with it. It's the old 2000s logo, so it's not so bad. It's not this new one. Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. 9 o'clock, right, Alex? We're rolling at 9. 9 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have the Goon Squad with Alex, myself, Rob Parks will be on. Courtney, more than likely. We'll see who else wants to hop on. Maybe Marissa will reach out to her. We'll see. Yeah. But we had a great time. Episode 1 return. We're talking Miami Heat basketball, NBA. It's going to be a blast. So
fun times.
Note your calendar for Goon Squad. All right. Let's see. Bring up my
Never be embarrassed, G-Man. Never be embarrassed. It's in your name. G-Man the Dolphin. So you just never be embarrassed, bro. You wear with pride.
Let's see here.
I mean, now we're the only team we're the last team that hasn't won a playoff game in. You want to say this century, but we did win in the end.
Florida Panthers gear as well. Yes.
Not Carolina Panther gear. Only Florida Panther gear.
All right.
Which is funny because the Florida Panther is black. All our Panther logo is like it looks like a leopard, but the Carolina Panther is what really a Florida Panther is, the Black Panther, which would have been amazing. But I don't know how they didn't come up with that, man. Like, how do you fumble that? Like you're the Florida Panther is literally, or unless I'm wrong, but I believe the Florida Panther is the Black Panther. Oh man, what an awesome thing would have been, like the Florida Black Panthers. I mean, that could have gone a lot of ways, you know. Panthers are black leopards. Oh, interesting. Thank you, caller. 500 personalized jersey for sale. So the Florida Panthers, basically their logo is brown leopards. The Florida Panthers brown? Oh man. I've been wrong this whole time? Holy shit. You think when you learn something that you thought is like, damn you.
Okay. I'm just gonna go with some questions here. It's too many.
Max, now that you say that, I've always wondered this because Miami-Dade College is the Sharks. We live in Miami. You would think that would have been one of the options. When that's an interesting question to have for the franchise. Did they consider other names other than the Dolphins? Because we just know them as the Dolphins, but did they consider other names? I really hope it's not like the Flamingos or something.
All right.
Yeah, I know Stanley C's brown, but that's what I'm saying. I thought the Florida Panther was black. I had no idea that the Florida Panther was the brown one. So I was mistaken here.
No, you're mistaken on a lot of things. You think you're always right when you're wrong.
Never. Don't go down this lane. Justice Winslow, some white side.
Oh, you brought it up, brother, not me.
Always the same thing over and over.
You brought it up, man. I'm sitting here with Jovic and Jaime, just like, but it's all right.
What? The first non-NFL professional football team in Miami was the Seahawks. Holy shit, I didn't know that.
So, and the Miami Giants was baseball.
Yeah.
I love that type. I got
Satchel Paige played for them.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
See, but
they were the throwbacks.
When I saw that one time in the house, I mean not in the house, when I was at the store and I saw MM and there's a weird logo and I was like, that looks like Miami, and I picked it up and it was Miami Marlins, but it was the Giants. And I was like, that I bought, I mean, I didn't buy the hat, I bought the shirt, and I love it. I love stuff like that. I gotta find that Miami Seahawks. I'll look for that because that's really cool to know. Alex.
Yes, sir.
Couple questions for you, and everybody in the comments, questions for you. So put
Fire
your
away.
answers in there. We'll go here. We'll wrap it up with this. We do this all the time. If you're not familiar with these 10th Street Boys, man, we talk sports, growing up Miami, random ass questions. We talk everything on here. So
Which, by
fire
the way,
away.
that should be the name of the segment, Bob. Officially, we gotta do some imaging for that. Random ask questions. That's perfect.
There you go. Let me see. What did I had here? Okay, what is your favorite type of movie? Start with that. Favorite type of movie. If you had a choice of movies, no particular name, but you look and you didn't know them, but you saw the genre. Action, horror, comedy, romance. Just stop it, G-Man. Jesus. Of course he would come in the clutch.
You know what? It all depends on the mood sometimes, but I've gotten really into documentaries. I have a thing right now for documentaries. On I don't know. I like documentaries. Obviously, I still love comedy specials. I'm not one of those big. I love our dumb comedies, like they call it, like obviously the Will Ferrell type and all that. But I do like anything that is. I hate science fiction. I don't find anything interesting for me. That's just me personally. But I do like the semi. I like the cool action comedy type, like the Ryan Reynolds perfect combination. I like those.
One answer. You only had to give one.
Sorry, just going
And
through
then
the list.
you kind of covered all the bases, because I can agree with you on documentaries. I like watching. Oh, jeez, you didn't have to put that up there, Alex. You didn't have to put that. Up.
It would have been amazing if it was autocorrect.
Oh, like, read the subtitles.
The subtitles. Like that would have been awesome if autocorrect would have corrected that.
Comedy. Comedy. I'm with G-Man. In all seriousness, like end of the day, I love sitting down and putting on a comedy, something funny. If it's a movie, I love action. I love 90s action movies. I think those are great. Documentary, absolutely. Science fiction, I can roll with some. Obviously, you had Star Wars and Star Trek. I like those. Some of the ones, Godzilla loves those movies. But
I love Full Metal Jacket.
Comedy awesome. For sure is like, I can sit down and I love to laugh. And because I like to end the night on a good note, laugh at something, and now we're talking about movie. Bobby, what is it like living in Tennessee? Cold right now. It's cold. But that's my wife, guys. Hunter knows this. Obviously, most of you guys know this. But it's cold right now. I love it. I love living in Tennessee. I really do. There's a lot of things I love about Florida that I miss. But I love Tennessee. It's quiet. The history. My goodness, someone's giving a big. There's somebody peeing in the corner there somewhere.
No, that's my dog just drinking water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just there. He's going crazy. He's going to town.
That's a loud lick.
He's thirsty, man. He's thirsty.
Hey, brother. But no, I like it, man. I really do. I love the history. I love Tennessee waterfall. It's a mullet. I'm considering it. I'm from Vegas. Really? Hunter, that's awesome, man. I mean, I live in the Nashville area. It's growing. Again, it has everything's here. Everything's close by. You got Gatlinburg, Chattanooga. Right now it's snowing. You get all the seasons. I love it, man. Reach out to me if you're considering it. We'll talk, man. Especially let me know what area you're looking at. Joe Dirt. Yeah, that's a classic. What kind of dog, Alex?
Oh, my dog, it's a miniature pincher mixed with a Chihuahua. So he's like a little mini Doberman with like a vicious personality.
Cute but annoying.
Yeah.
And it barks.
Oh, man. And he goes ham. It's funny because we have a possum. The lady next door has like some cats that she feeds. So she leaves the food out, right? And this possum comes out every day, like around 10:30, 11. That's why when you hear him sometimes, when we're doing our show, he goes crazy. He goes crazy, man. And he will stand out there and he will bark up through the wall and he walks the possum all the way until he gets to our back fence that leads to like a main road. And until the possum gets on the trees and goes to the next house, he won't stop barking. And then he just barks to come inside the house.
Pinch Yo quiero Taco Bell. You remember that? Yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah, he has a big
awesome,
lick.
bro.
Popular with the lady. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all wet and moist.
Sorry, Mom.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Mom. That's my mom.
BOE, Big Lick Energy.
I have a pit bull, full bred pit bull. She's a sweetheart. She's not but my neighbor
She's
puts
awesome,
cat
bro.
food at possums. Like Alex, yeah, she was great with Alex. She loves Alex, dude. Do you like haunted houses? I guess that's a double question because do you like the fake ones like with makeup, the actors and stuff? Do you like going through that?
That doesn't do anything for me, man. And I'm saying I was never scared of them, but I just find it like I don't know, like I'm gonna go on record. I've never gone to Halloween Horror Nights. Like
Wow,
that's not something to me. Like I don't find it exciting for me. Like it's funny, it's cool, but haunted that doesn't do really anything for me.
So I'm not a fan of regular ones. Like I mean, like when you go down the road, they have it open a park, and it's now Halloween Horror Nights. That's different. That's like you're in a movie. They did a whole set. Haunted Halloween Horror Nights. You need to at least go one. Just go to one. And I mean, and maybe I don't know if you're in. I don't remember. Well, you are. I think in a way you are. You do like some scary movies, but
I like scary psychological thriller. That's what my favorite movie series of all times in that genre
Saw.
per se is Saw. I love Saw.
But you see, those are the type they put you in those situations. Like they put you in that.
Okay.
And G-Man, whatever the answer is, brother, I know it's dirty, and I can't say it, but I know where you're going. I think you'll probably change it now that I figured it. Good morning. Yeah, I do. You see, there it is. I was gonna say where the ladies at. I was gonna say, or something like that.
Good morning, ladies. Lady.
I like Halloween Horror Nights.
The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense was amazing. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that's
one of my favorite movies.
I think we asked that last time.
Which one?
What's a weird smell you really enjoy? Don't answer, G-Man. Do not answer.
Hello,
do
ladies.
not. Yeah, G-Man's coming again. There are ladies in the chat. No,
weird smell that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Huh. Food, or any smell.
Any smell. Weird smell. Food wouldn't be weird. That's not weird.
I think we've had talk because I do like the smell.
But I get banned in a heartbeat. Dog shit would be weird if you want to go dog. Dog
man,
poo,
that's not like a weird smell. I love the smell of gasoline. So
yeah,
I love the smell.
Cocaine. He's a Play-Doh. Okay,
that's true. I love the smell of Play-Doh.
Gasoline.
The markers. The markers when permanent markers came out and like the for the dry erase boards, then now obviously they're scentless or like they're like I have all these nice scents. But before, man, kids were getting high on those markers, man. Like, before you,
I said it to. We've asked that before. And I think one of my answers was I did say gasoline was AC when the AC turns on the AC unit hits you that smell. I like that silver spray paint. When your mom makes haluki, I like the smell of boiling cabbage. Oh, that's nice. I love the smell of good weed.
good ladies.
Coffee.
That's
Cuban coffee.
not a weird
Espresso.
smell.
It's not a weird smell. No.
That's a good smell.
My bad.
I mean, everybody knows the original scratch and sniff, right? Like we know, everybody knows the original.
This is boring, Bobby. You're boring, Todd.
Don't judge us, Todd.
Your face is boring. I know. Like, she wants me to go deep. When's the last time you cried?
When was the last time I cried?
Yeah. Chismosa Tati would like that.
The last time I cried. Holy shit. Because the problem is it could be any feelings.
Sure.
It could be like a song. I heard a song and
Saturday
it made me
night.
think about
That's what I was going to say. Saturday night.
right before the show.
For the Dolphins game. Well, after the Dolphins game. The Dolphins
Actually,
make me cry.
the last time I cried, I want to say it was a week ago. I heard a song that reminded me about like family member, and that's so it was like one of those emotional like where you drop. It's one of those that you drop like 2 tears and you just wipe it away. So I don't know if it's a like it wasn't. I don't remember bawling out crying in a long time, but I've had the tears like coming down and like frustration tears, but like bawling crying no. Like I honestly don't remember. I'm not a big crier.
That was my next one because I mean I don't think it'd be a baller in order to say cry. I mean,
Miss Prime.
hey man, don't.
Let me see. I mean, would the term laying the wood be into effect? Because the wood's already laid. So it's like you're having sex with a pirate. That's awesome. Does she have an eye patch on? Am I getting banned? Can I just keep going? Am I going to get Tati, is this HR approved?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Oops.
Oh gee man.
When your HR department tells you what are you guys talking about, that's when you know you're like, whoa, there's gonna be some fines.
Okay. Here's one. So when my answer, I don't really remember when the last time I actually I cried. I don't. But like you, there's been there could be a song that could I could start to get my mind going. Or something like that, or something. I'm not politically correct. You could say that again.
Yeah.
Are you a jealous person? I guess that's a deep question. You have to be real with yourself. So, but I'm not saying that you are or you're not. But do you see yourself as a jealous person?
I have normal jealousy. I guess like if people are giving extra attention to dumb, stupid shit that people are gonna feed off. But I'm secure in myself in situations where
jealousy?
Professionally, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's that.
I don't think that's jealousy.
I'm not a jealous person when it comes to look. Like I know there's, for example, on a physical aspect, I know there's more attractive people than me. I know there's taller people than me, fitter people than me. That's just physical. There's smarter people than me, more intellectually enticing people than me. But I've always been secure with who I am. So I think jealousy. Like the root of jealousy, you can have competition with people, even in the physical or professional aspect. But I think the root of jealousy, like I'm jealous of you, comes from like a very insecure place of you not being sure of yourself. That does not mean we don't have insecurities. So I want to clear that out because you can have insecurities. You can have insecurities with your body, with your mind, with anything. But jealousy, I've never genuinely felt it. And I'm not trying to come out as this, like I don't know. I obviously I have feelings like any human being does, but I don't feel I don't think I'm a jealous person. Maybe that's not a right question to ask for somebody. Like you would have to ask somebody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would your wife say you're a jealous person?
No, I don't think Jamila would say I'm a jealous person.
Like Tati says, are you jealous? Am I a jealous person? And she would know I'm her husband. I don't think I'm a jealous person. I don't think she was saying the other day
do you overreact if she talks to a random person,
no.
Or do you feel like insecure if she's talking to another person?
No.
Like that's do you act on it, or do you say like a side comment after it, or that's when exactly yes I'm the same way. I feel that I'm that. I'm like don't give attention to people that don't merit attention. Like don't laugh at a dumb joke.
That's different. That's not jealousy. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't open up possibility because I try to be the same way. Like I know when people are trying to like deviate and go through a certain, and I cut it off real quick with people, but only my left hand is jelly.
Oh man, it's late, dude. We're having a blast, and I just love everybody here going in, man, having a blast here. Anybody whose hobbies is watches get jealous. anyone who hobbies and watches can get jealous. I like Ralph's comment. I think it was Raphael's comment that he's jealous of other teams' quarterbacks, basically. Oh, that was pretty funny.
Oh man, you know that's
see that's this is
go. Next
okay.
question.
Go ahead.
I love it.
Well, I know. I guess this is for everyone else and not us because we know because we played.
Yeah.
We were together. What sports did you play growing up?
Me? Okay.
I guess the answer would be what sports did we not play?
Yeah, my first like organized sports that I actually played for clubs and all that. I played. My first love was baseball. I was a shortstop until I was like 13, 12 or 13. I fell in love with basketball at that age. I fell in love with basketball like around 11 or 12. So I started transitioning because I fell in love with basketball with the 96, 97 Heat, the Road Warriors, like the original Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway. So that's when I started transitioning. I've always played football, obviously in the street. I played organized baseball, basketball. It's funny because today I played street hockey with my son. He loves street hockey, and he's a good skater. So we're getting into that a lot. So there was a period that I loved tennis. I played tennis, not in a club or anything, but just for fun. So I felt that I've always ventured in sports. I've always identified in the sports world. I love the competition. I love learning new sports. Like when I play a sport, I actually learn it. I just don't go to like for shits and giggles. Like I want to learn what I'm doing. So I really think that, and it's funny because my first love was soccer actually. The first professional sport, the first organized sport I played was soccer for the local YMCA, and I loved it. It was high energy. It was intense. I was the only Cuban on the team. It was all Venezuelan and Colombians. So obviously, I don't know why I just fell in love with it. But the only sport I didn't play organized was football, and I regret it. I regret not actually trying out for football. But hey, it is what it is.
I mean, in regards of street ball, street football, street basketball, street baseball, that was Alex and I and everyone else on our street. We football at the park, tackle football. We played the winter bowl when it was cold out. We went to we winter rain bowl. It was raining. Yes, backyard wrestling. We did do that. But organized sports, I did play a little baseball. I think it was like half a season or a season. Football, I did play high school football for a season. I never played organized basketball. I coach organized basketball now, which is funny,
What position
and we won last
football,
week.
Bobby? I forgot.
Edge rusher.
Edge rusher. Okay.
Edge rusher. Yeah, and I was backup tight end, because of high school. That's how it is. But no, edge rusher was the main one. And my claim to fame was that one strip fumble.
Those strip fumble.
I was talking shit on the sideline. I was like, why did he keep letting, they're going to keep handing off the ball. That's all they're doing. Yeah. I said, I was basically saying that. And the coach was like, I remember he grabbed my pads, from right here. And he's like, is that, oh, really? Go out there. Get whoever the number 92. Tell 92 to get out. So I say 92. I was 69, which was very fun in high school, and they told me, So I went there, I called him out. And I remember they ran right to my way. And I just went right for the ball, and that ball fell. I remember they got me right in front of this big dude. He was like 7, not 7 foot, he was 6 foot, so I'm exaggerating. He was 2. I remember looking, I was like, oh, it was the offensive lineman. I dumped his ass backwards. I remember I got right under his pads, got him back, went under and hit that ball out, and that was it. I was like, that was my one claim to fame. Whatever.
For our fans listening that don't know what that is, you could Google it. I'm not going to say what it is, but this has been the name of our fantasy football league for the last 6 years, the Rusty Trombones. So I'm not going to say it. In order to preserve this podcast and we don't get canceled completely, I'm not going to say what it is. I just tell everybody listening, if you don't know what it is, go Google it by yourselves.
All right. So, I'm trying to think. I never played soccer.
Does wrestling count?
Yeah, I said wrestling. I did say wrestling.
Oh, okay. Oh, you didn't say wrestling? Oh, you said wrestling.
I did say yeah. I said back the skin flute. Stop it, G-Man. Man, he's back full force, bro.
Hey, the good thing, I got to give it to him. He didn't go full on why it's called the Rusty Trombone. So,
I appreciate that.
Google it, guys. Google it.
So, all right. Final one. Because I would like to know this. This is somebody. Are you named after anyone? If not, how did your parents think of your name?
Well, it's funny. I'm named after Alexander the Great, but my mom loved Alexander. My mom loved Alejandro, and my dad liked Alexander. And the funny story is, my parents had just bought their property, and my mom was pregnant, and my dad had a painter come out because they were going to redo some of the walls. They were doing some remodeling before I was born, and he happened to be Greek, and they were debating how to write it out, and then they asked the Greek painter for the original spelling of my name, and he spelled it out. So it stayed Alexandros with an accent on the O. So my name ends in ROS. So it's Alexandros. That's the origin of my name. I wasn't named after any family member or anything. It was straight up.
Do you have a middle name?
Yeah. Well,
What's
I have two middle names. My middle name is my grandfather's, Jose and Angel. So my name is Alexandros Jose Angel. Jose was my maternal grandfather, and Angel was my paternal grandfather.
Okay. All right. So really, it should be Aja, not AJ.
Aja, yes, Aja. Aha.
Yeah. We'll call you Aja. Aha. Aha. Okay, aha. It was like aha. So, see, Philly lost. Holy shit,
dude! I'm telling you, there is going to be major changes there. Major changes.
Yeah. Then Alex the Boy, East 10th Street. Yeah, we've gone down that.
That's true. And for those, obviously, people already know the story. But for those new listeners, I'm Alex the Boy because Bobby's younger sister is Alexandria. So she was Alex the girl, and I was Alex the boy. I believe.
Yeah, but we never called her Alex the girl. So it's Alex and then Alex. Yeah.
Yes. I believe Tammy was the one that appointed that because they would say Alex and we would always respond at the same time or something like that. I forgot exactly what it was. But I believe it was your mom who coined the name. That sounds like something your mom would create.
Well, my dad still calls you Alex the Boy to this day. Every time.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I don't think my mom did. My mom
and there was a time. There was a time that he would call me the one from
Mugatu from Zoolander because your hair and he hasn't let that go either. Little Mugatu. Remember Mugatu? My father. Is your name separate or together? Your middle name?
It is separate. It's two. Separate. So I technically have three names.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's separate. It's separate.
So yeah, I was named after my dad's brother Robert, and my mother's in the comments, so she could actually answer that if she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could wait on her. I'm Robert Michael, so it's Robert after my uncle Roberto, my dad's brother, and Michael after my grandfather, Michael, my grandfather, my mother's father. I believe. I know Robert. I'm pretty sure that's where Michael came from. But Mom is in the comments, so Mom could correct me if I'm wrong. She's probably typing away right now. She's dealing with crazy cats and crazy people.
But can I tell you a funny story?
My uncle was Roberto Miguel, which is translation Robert Michael.
Yeah, Robert Michael.
So
Michael.
that might be just a straight up. I might just be named straight after my uncle, and my uncle passed away years before. I was born. He died. My dad's brother was murdered actually, and so I guess that's why I was named after. Yeah, Roberto Miguel was your uncle. So there you go. So I was named after my uncle.
Oh, so
even though my grandfather's named Michael, but I'm Robert Michael because of my uncle Roberto.
Because basically your dad named his firstborn after his brother.
Yes.
Perfect.
So that
yeah, that's cool.
He's buried in your uncle only. So there you go. Wow.
It just happened to be so damn. Now Grandpa Mike's gonna be a little upset. Like, what? What do you mean? Like, what?
Well, then my son, his middle name is Michael after his father, but then I say it's after the grandfather. So
is Harrison Michael too? Oh, no, Harrison Matthew.
Harrison is Matthew. Yeah.
Matthew. I like the name Matthew. It's cool.
Yeah.
And they got the old name of
my great grandfather. That's my great grandfather.
Yeah, that's it. That's like an older person's name. You don't have young people named Glenn. That's funny. That's another thing. Names. I know it's by eras, but there's some names that people associate with older people, but they were young ones. So that's always interesting.
What's funny about our names that my brothers and I always thought of when we were growing up, our names that we thought it was funny was that we're not named after famous actors, but you could say that. We wanted to name him number 3. Who did you want to name? We wanted to
Harrison?
name him Yeah, what are you talking about? They wouldn't let me laugh my ass. What are you? I'm named after her. Nice color. That's pretty cool.
Now
Who-
your
what are
mom
you
has to
talking
clarify
about?
this.
Yeah,
We
I
can't
don't
go-
know who's number 3. Who's supposed to be number 3?
It has to
They
be
wouldn't-
Harrison.
It has to be because he's number 3, right?
And then they just de facto went to Harry's son, like the son of Harry.
It's astrology. But if you my brother's names are Robert. I'm Robert. Nicky is Nicholas. Harrison is Harrison. So we always used to think like, oh man, we were like named after 3 famous actors. Me, De Niro, Nicky, Nicolas Cage, Harrison Ford. It's so funny growing up. Though, I was like Harrison. I wanted to name him number 3. They wouldn't let me. I'm named Tatiana. I have a cousin named what?
Well, it's funny because that's why, like for example, all the Cuban names that you see with Y, that's the Russian influence. That is the influence in the culture. So they started making up these names like Yusnavi. It's U.S. Navy, but they put it with a Y in the front. So there's a lot of things. I had a classmate that was named You Smell.
Yeah, I had one too. Yusniel and Yusmani and
Yusniel, Yusmani,
which is
Josvani,
U.S. Money,
US
U.S. Mail, U.S. Navy, Navy.
Disney.
My dog's name
Like,
is. All right, you guys. My dog's name. My uncle's
Disney.
name was Mark. I
I know
appreciate
a girl named Disney.
Oh, dude.
Like it's literally spelled Disney, but when you pronounce it in Spanish, it's Disney.
Katiaska? Katiiska?
Katiuska.
Oh, Katiuska.
Katiuska.
Never heard of that name.
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev. How many? No. All right. All right. By the way, I'm not a troll. I'm just rude. I know.
Oh man, yeah, we love you, bro. G-Man. Look,
good. Happy to
either
hear
two
that,
things. Either two things. You can be on our show one day, or you're gonna get us canceled. That's one of those for sure.
Well,
For
G-Man
sure.
was on. I saw G-Man on Dolphins Thursday, which was really cool. Ray was
Yeah.
with us on post game,
Oh, that's
so I
awesome.
saw Ray. Ray was actually all dressed up in Dolphins gear, which was really cool to see. Of course, he was depressed. I get it. There you go.
Brazilian ex-wife.
Yeah, ex-wife. But anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Don't forget to join us on Wednesday night. Have more fun. It's just as fun as East 10th Street Boys. Just more people at the party. We had a lot of fun, G-Man, last episode. I think you would have really enjoyed that. I'm good at getting in trouble, Alex.
So am I.
I'd like,
So am I, buddy. So am I.
I'd like a Cuban name for my next trip to Havana. Yes, I know. He said that. He was on Ambien.
No, that's always fun. When these podcasts, when you do them in an altered state of mind.
But anywho, everyone, thank you so much all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah. We will be back on Wednesday night. Bigger party again for the Goon Squad, Miami Heat NBA Talk. Till then, like, subscribe, Dolphin fans. I know it's hard, but fins up. See you guys
Season's
next time.
over?
Season's over. Bum, bum, bum.